All right, today we're talking about something huge, the sudden, explosive rise of humanoid robots and really what it means for all of us.
Now, I know what you're thinking. That's a weird question, right? But stick with me here, because the answer connects this prehistoric Big Bang of life with the tech revolution that's happening literally right now, in labs and factories all over the globe. So yeah, let's dive in.
Okay, so to really get what's happening in the future, we've got to take a step way, way back in time. We're talking about 540 million years ago. So for billions of years, life on our planet was pretty simple. And then, bam, in what's basically a geological blink of an eye, everything changed. This period saw this just incredible explosion of complex animals. All the fundamental body plans, the basic blueprints for animals, suddenly appeared. These designs would go on to define the animal kingdom for hundreds of millions of years to come. This event, well, scientists call it the Cambrian Explosion, and it was just this frenzy of evolutionary creativity. The blueprints for almost every animal we see today, including our own very, very distant ancestors, got laid down right then. And the key thing to remember is that it wasn't slow and gradual. It was a sudden, world-changing burst of totally new forms. Okay, so here's the big question, the whole point of this. Could that exact same pattern be happening all over again? Not with flesh and bone this time, but with circuits and steel. And this is really the core idea, all in one shot. On the left, you've got that sudden burst of biological diversity from millions of years ago. And on the right, it looks pretty similar, doesn't it? A robotics explosion with this dizzying array of new robot species just popping up all at once. The parallels, they're kind of hard to ignore. So what's behind all this? What's causing it? Well, just like the original Cambrian explosion was probably kicked off by some major environmental and genetic changes, today's robotics explosion has its own powerful triggers.
So what's the fuel for this fire? Well, it's not just one thing. It's really a perfect storm of technologies that have been getting better and better for decades. I mean, think about it. The kind of computing power that used to fill a room is now something you carry in your pocket. We've got amazing design tools and 3D printing that let us build prototypes super fast. Batteries are finally getting good enough, and we have wireless communication connecting everything everywhere. All those physical building blocks, they've all finally come together at the same time, and they're cheap, powerful, and easy to get.
But the hardware is only half the story. The real magic, the game changer, is in the software. And it really comes down to two big ideas. First, cloud robotics. So picture this. One robot, somewhere in the world, figures out how to perfectly pick up an apple. Through the cloud, that new skill is instantly beamed out to every other robot on the network. They all learn it at once. And second, deep learning. This is the same kind of AI that powers things like ChatGPT. It lets robots learn from just massive amounts of data. And what you get is this incredibly powerful feedback loop. When one robot learns something, they all learn it, and their collective intelligence just skyrockets.
Okay, but why are there so many different kinds of robots popping up? Well, a really cool concept from biology actually explains this. It's called the principle of frustration. And the idea is pretty simple. When you're trying to solve a bunch of conflicting problems at the same time, like, say, walking efficiently but also carrying heavy things and trying to save battery power, there's no single perfect design that does it all. Instead, you end up with a whole bunch of different, good enough solutions.
Here's a great way to visualize it. It's called a fitness landscape. So imagine you have a really simple task, like just standing up. There's probably one best way to do that, right? That's like a single, lonely peak on a smooth landscape. But now start adding more jobs, walking, seeing, grabbing things, talking. All of a sudden that landscape gets really rough and complicated. You don't have one peak anymore, you have dozens of them. And each of those peaks is a different, specialized design that works. That's why we're not just seeing one perfect robot, we're seeing a whole ecosystem of them.
And this explosion of different solutions, it isn't theoretical. It's happening right now. So let's take a look at some of the new dominant species that are starting to emerge in this very crowded ecosystem.
I mean, think about it. Just a few years ago, when you thought of advanced robots, you thought of Boston Dynamics, and that was pretty much it. But now, look at this list. You've got Figure AI, which is backed by basically every tech giant you can name. You've got Tesla with Optimus, Agility Robotics, Apptronic, Unitree. The list just keeps going. It is an absolute gold rush, a total explosion of companies all racing to build that first big, commercially successful humanoid robot.
And as one Reddit user pointed out, this isn't happening in a vacuum. That same AI technology, the large language models, or LLMs, that create these jaw-dropping moments in tools like ChatGPT or Sora, that's the exact same tech that's giving these robots their brains. We've all seen how fast AI has been improving, these incredible leaps it's taking, and now all that exponential progress is being hooked up to bodies that can move around in the real world.
Which, of course, brings us to the biggest question of all. We know this explosion is happening, but what comes next? And when you look at the discussions happening online, you see society is really grappling with two completely different, totally opposing visions for our future.
So on one side, you have this utopian dream, right? Robots do all the dangerous, dirty, and dull jobs. We enter this world of post-scarcity abundance, where everything is cheap and people are finally free from labor to just be creative or do whatever they want. But then there's the other side, the dystopian fear. We're talking about mass unemployment on a scale we've literally never seen before. That could trigger a financial collapse and create this new kind of society with the robot-owning haves and the human have-nots.
And this comment from an online debate really just captures that anxiety perfectly. The fear isn't just, oh no, I might lose my job. It's way bigger than that. It's the fear that our entire economic system, all our social safety nets, could become basically useless overnight because they just weren't designed to handle a shift this fast and this big. And this next comment takes that fear to its most extreme conclusion. A future where automation is so complete, so total, that the rich don't even need the rest of us as customers anymore. The entire economy that we understand based on buying and selling things could just stop mattering to the people at the top.
But of course, there's a really strong counterargument to all this pessimism. This user makes the classic point. Human wants are pretty much infinite. You know, every other major technology in history didn't lead to permanent mass unemployment, so why would this one be any different? The thinking is we'll just invent new jobs, new industries, new things we want to do. Maybe that's supervising robots or a huge boom in space or ocean exploration, stuff we can't even really picture yet.
So, smack in the middle of this huge debate, all these potential solutions are being thrown around. You hear about things like universal basic income, or UBI, new taxes, like a land value tax, or just higher corporate taxes on all the profits from automation. Some people even suggest the government should just own the robots and provide goods and services directly. Look, there are no easy answers here, but the important thing is the conversation is already starting. And that's pretty much where we are now. A brand new ecosystem is being born, and it's being driven by these crazy exponential technologies and the same kinds of evolutionary pressures we saw millions of years ago. It really does promise to reshape our world in a way that's just as profound as that first Cambrian explosion. So the question really isn't if it's coming anymore. The question is, what are we going to do when it gets here?